Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2005, it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 5.7 liter engine. The complaint today is that the customer was driving. The check engine light was illuminated previously, but as he was driving, the oil pressure light lit up and it stayed lit. He said periodically it'll turn off, and then every couple of minutes or so it'll turn back on and he hears like a bell ringing inside the vehicle. So I'm going to bring you in there. I'm going to show you what's going on. The oil pressure light is on. He did drive it in, and when he did drive it in, there is no knocking or tapping or anything going on inside the engine, which is a good thing because we know that it didn't spin a bearing or a oil pump failure or anything like that. Of course, the first thing we did is we checked the oil, and as the customer tells me, he checked the oil himself and he added a couple of quarts to it. And after I just checked it now, I can see he's over by a couple of quarts. So it's never good to add oil until you know for sure that it needs it. Let me bring you in now. I'm going to show you what's going on, and then we're going to figure out what's happening with this car. So come on, let's take a walk in there. Okay, so this is what's going on with it. Let me start it up, and as you can see, the check engine light's on. And also the oil pressure light is lit also. Now the reason I do have this running and I'm not concerned about damaging the engine is because there is no noise underneath it. The customer has been driving it for a couple of days, if not a week already, with that light on. So I have a feeling that the oil pressure switch is going to be the issue, but let's grab our scanner and let's see what the codes are. Okay, it's just as I suspected. It's a P0520 engine oil pressure sensor circuit. Most likely it's going to be a bad oil pressure switch. Let's lift this up on the lift, and I'm gonna, you know what? Let's go back to the computer wiring diagram, and we're going to take a look at the diagram on here, and we're going to test the circuit to make sure that the circuit is good before we go any further. Okay, so looking at this diagram here, it's a fairly simple circuit. It's a 3-wire connector on the back of the switch. We're just going to unplug it. We're going to check for a 5-volt reference. We're going to make sure it has a good ground. And this is the signal wire that actually goes up to the to turn that light off for the oil pressure. So it's going to be a little tough to film this, but I'll do the best I can underneath the car. So all right, let's lift it up and let's take a look and see where it's located. Okay, and this is where our oil pressure sender is actually located. Looks like it's down underneath the vehicle. So we're going to have to lift it up. We'll pull that cover down underneath the bottom, and we'll see what that switch looks like. All right, as you can see, looking underneath here, it's a little bit tight where we have to go. Where we need to go is actually right inside, up in the back, right back in there. We're going to need to get in there. So that's where the switch is located, so that's what we're going to do. We're not going to take the filter out. We're actually going to remove the skid plate underneath the bottom right here. We're going to take the skid plate off to gain access to it. So let's do that, and we'll see how much room we get. Somebody put the wrong bolts in there. See how much room we have up underneath here now. All right, I'll bring you up there so you can see what's going on, get an idea. It's going to be a little bit difficult to film this, but I'll do the best I can. That's the switch right up inside there. So I'm going to unplug that plug right there, and we'll take that out, and I hope you can see what I'm doing, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're going to push that little clip to unlock it there, and then we're going to push that little tab right there in, and you just rock it and you unplug it, and we're going to get in here now. I'm going to have to, okay, and now that we have this unplugged here, we're going to get our voltmeter, and we're going to test for power and ground, and if that checks out okay, then we're going to go ahead and replace that switch up there. I know it's a little dark, but that's where the switch is located, right there. I know that this switch here is no good by looking at it, because as you can see, it's leaking oil inside there. So either way, we're changing that switch. But let me just check this, and then we'll come back. Okay, as you can see, it's a really tight spot up there, but I just want to show this to you. Our voltage is okay. We have 4.99 volts, so we know that we have the power to the switch where we're supposed to. We're going to check the ground now to make sure, but I'm pretty confident we're just going to have a bad switch. So before I go any further testing anything else, we're going to place the order for the switch. Okay, as you can see, we're just checking to make sure that there's no leaks on that switch at all, and it's nice and dry. It's bone dry, nothing's leaking. Our red tab is locked back in place to keep that harness connected in there, and that's it. We're all done. All right, so I'm not going to bore you with putting this cover, I should say that cover, back on. I think you can know how to do that. It's 4 screws and it's done. Okay, that's it. We're all done. All right, I just want to point out I did change the oil and filter on here because the oil was over that full mark by at least 2, maybe 3 quarts, so it didn't make any sense to drain it out, only to try to get it to an even on the stick to where it's supposed to be. So we did do an oil change and filter at the same time. As you can see, it's running. The light is off. I'm going to take it for a road test now. The best part of the whole job is the road test. So we're going to get this out the door and then on to the next one. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.